Hi everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to address clutch issues on this here, my 2025 MOTO 450MT. Luckily enough, this one hasn't actually had any clutch issues yet. This is all preventative maintenance. With only around about 2,000 kilometers on it, it's still fairly new. Although I have heard of some of these bikes burning their clutches out by 1,000 kilometers or 600 miles. Other cases, they've been 5 to 10,000 Ks, which is still it's not enough. Luckily, there seems to be a bit of a workaround of relatively cheap and affordable price. All up, it's about an $80 fix in New Zealand dollars. We're not changing the oil, we're not going through any of this. This is just a simple, quick fix you'll see over the next 10-15 minutes. And hopefully this video will help you tackle the same issue, get a bit longer life out of your clutch. So we'll run through that today. We'll open the old girl up, or the new girl I should say, 2,000 Ks, still not old. And we'll show you the workarounds and the fix to hopefully get a bit of extra life out of your clutch and not be left stranded somewhere or have a brilliant ride cut short. Over here is the strengthened springs that I bought. These are from Uncle Wang's. They're supposedly about 20% stronger than the factory CF Moto springs. From what I've read, the factory springs are known to go out of their tolerance. This is supposed to be around about 41 millimeters, the length of the spring, at maximum. Some of these have been prematurely exceeding that and losing their tension. So I'm hoping this extra bit of spring should help prevent that. Kit comes with this replacement bearing. We may not use this. With the bike only having 2,000 kilometers on it, I'm hoping it should be in fairly good condition. Over here we have the one fibre, the large fibre. This is what's going to replace our shutter rings. With the bike only having around about 2,000 kilometers on it, I'm not too concerned about replacing the whole clutch. So I've just bought the one fibre to replace the shutter rings. Currently soaking in a bit of 1040 fully synthetic oil I had lying around. It's not a brand match to what's in the bike, but it is close enough, and for the point of just soaking a plate. Due to the fact that I don't want to change the oil on this bike, with the pre-existing oil only being 1,500 kilometers old, we're going to lie the bike down on its side, clutch side facing up. This will allow all of the oil to drain to the far away side of the crankcase. I am going to do premature changes on this, but 1,500 is just a little bit too soon. Right, let's lie the big girl down. Very possibly being a wee bit precious here, but I've got a couple of dog beds I use in the garage for when the dogs want to come hang out. So I've laid them down, and I've then put these old drop sheets I've got on top of it, just so the bike's not resting on the concrete. So far I've managed to keep this thing upright, and it's in pretty good nick, so I'd hate to put its first few scratches on it by trying to fix it. Alright, with any amount of luck I've actually have these in the right place. So in true Kiwi fashion, I've got the appropriate footwear on, socks and scuffs. Let's hope I don't drop her on my toes. Never lay this down, never picked it up. We're about to find out how truly heavy it is. Look at that, relatively successful. Well, it's on the ground. Alright, so to begin with, we're going to remove the clutch cable. We're going to try and not make too much of an adjustment to it. What we're going to do is use the dirty old adjustable spanner, which any day of the week would be a big no-no, but I only have one 12mm, which we're going to use for the actual turning end. So you just want to hold the nut in place and back this lower one off. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to do it, and we're going to back the nut the whole way off till it's loose. Then going to pull the cord down and push the lever up. It does take a little bit of pressure as you're pushing the clutch in, and we're going to free it. From here we can slide this whole cable up and out through the back. Alright, so now that's done, we've tucked this out the way. Turns out the starter motor wire there is perfect position to just tuck it behind. So in this case I have an aftermarket protector. Because of it being a wee bit thicker, when I replaced it, it was provided with these 5mm socket head screws. So they may be slightly different on your bike. If you don't have this protector, then these are all just 8mm socket Alright, ordinarily your next step would be to remove this, your clutch actuator arm. However, to do that you have to bend it back, and this new replacement cover gets in the way. So we're going to remove the 3 bolts to hold this on, get rid of that cover, and then from there on the rest will be factory bike settings. So these are just 5mm hex bolts that were replaced when the cover went on. They're just slightly longer. Alrighty, easy as that. Now we've removed that clutch cover, we can simply turn and pull this clutch arm out. There is a little washer that comes on the bottom. Ensure you grab this. It's not a bit you want to lose. Probably easily enough replaceable, but you're going to spend hours trying to work out where you've dropped it. This next step's pretty easy. We're just going to crack and remove these remaining 8 bolts we've got around here. There isn't a lot of pressure on them. They're just firm. So far I've noticed everything on CF Moto seems to have a little bit of Loctite on it, so you're really just breaking that initial seal. Easy enough, just whip them out. I'm going to go grab my T-handle and make this a lot easier. Right, now I've got all the bolts removed, it's a good time to point out this one and only bolt has a tiny little O-ring in here. It most probably will stay seated in the clutch cover, but you really want to keep an eye on it where it is. I'm going to leave it in there for now, but wouldn't blame you. You could remove it, put it somewhere safe, leave it on the bolt, whatever you want to do. Just remember, it's there and it needs to go back on. So, got myself a nice clean rag. We're just going to give the area a bit of a... So, this is really just a quick... Get rid of any super loose debris that's going to fall in when you take it off. Most of this is just dirty water that's on there. There's no grit, there's no grime, anything like that that should fall off. Now we're going to have to try and pry the case off. You will notice up by our famous O-ring bolt head there, we have this little tab. Now, as you can see, the case is on there fairly firm. You're not just going to muscle it off. So we're going to get a wee pry bar and something in behind here, and we're going to just try and pop it off. If it doesn't work initially, we'll get a rubber-headed mallet. Just give it a wee tap around the sides, try and break that seal. Put the hippies undies back down there, just so we don't scratch that paint. Got this funny old bar. Found it in a Toyota toolkit that a car I owned many years ago. Today's the day it's hopefully going to earn its worth. So we're going to get in behind there and just give it a wee bit of leverage at me. There we go. May take a wee bit. Much more than that, I'd have been tempted to start just hitting around the edges to loosen it. Hopefully this comes out in one piece. Don't make a fool of me. There should be about 2 or 3 locating dowels in here. So in the case of this one, it's just caught on the wee one down here. So I'll get my bar. This isn't going to take much at all. There we go. Free. just going to go put this on the workshop bench, put a rag over it, stop any imperfections or impurities getting into it. And as you can see, no oil to be seen, so we're winning there. Alright, next step is we're going to release these 3 bolts. They're what's holding our clutch springs in place. Once that's removed, we'll pull out the rest of the clutch fibres, inspect them, see what we're looking at. So, she's just a 10mm bolt there. Once again, these shouldn't be, there we go, under a lot of pressure. But you do want to make sure you undo them somewhat evenly. As you can imagine, there are springs in behind there, so as you undo it, this piece is trying to come up. You don't want it coming up on a funny angle. Once again, time for that T-wrench. You wouldn't read about it, I have a proper T-wrench, but this is out of the same random Toyota toolkit that I found in my shed when I was having a clean out the other day. So, just out of pure satisfaction of using tools that I've hoarded for many years, I'm going to take the Toyota one for a spin. Any guy that's been hoarding tools for far too long will know the satisfaction in finally getting to use it. That's when a T-wrench pays for itself. Right, there we go. So there is our clutch spring retainer, I suppose we'll call it. And here's our factory clutch springs. We're going to do the squish test. Not highly technical. Don't think you're going to feel 20%, but out of interest, let's see. Alright, new one, old one. Instantly we can see that spring is a little bit longer. Here's the new one, here's the old one. Also see full compression. It's all my wee thumbs have got. That stays longer under the same compression. It's already got a head start, but that's only going to help. I have heard of people putting shims at the top of the springs, which already preloads them slightly. We're not going to do that today. I want to keep this system as CF Moto intended it, just with slightly improved parts. So we'll remove these 3 springs. Now we have the top of the basket. This just takes a little bit of wobbling. Easy, off we come. So that's the bearing I was talking about, whether we'll replace or not. Seeing as we have it there, we probably will. We'll keep that as the spare. The other thing to take note of is these top fibre, if it's going to split on me, this top fibre and top steel actually locates into a different place than the bottom ones. As you can see, this one goes into those ones are offset. So we're going to just take these 2 off as the pack, and I'm going to mount them as they would be in the traditional setup, like so. So that way I know that is my fibre, that is my plate that come off the top. We'll go chuck that over on the workbench as it is. Alright, so what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to remove this entire stack in one lift. So, just grab the bottom ones, wiggle her out, there we go. So I'm now going to keep that stack in that position. We know it's upright. This is going to go on the bench besides the other parts. We will inspect this, but we're going to inspect it over on the bench where it's cleaner, safer, and we're going to pull it apart in pieces so we can keep that direction, that original stack. We'll go from there. Okay, it's probably going to be fairly hard to see on the camera here, but right in close, the last 2 things we have on here are our shutter rings. Quite awkward to get out. First one comes out okay, we'll put you there. It's the second one. It's tapered the other way. Now you can either act like a goose and muck around and try and get it out like I am, or do what I'm about to do, give up, go get a screwdriver, get under it, pry it out. Right, handy dandy flathead. We want to be delicate that we don't mark or score anything here. So we're just gonna, I'm left-handed, so I trust myself to do it more on this side, despite the fact you guys can't see it very well, I'm afraid. Just gonna push it. What's happened is it's got oil under it, so it is slightly sealed from the oil. Just that little bit of suction. Maybe get the pinky in there. Come on. There we go, it's up. Just work around with the screwdriver there. There you go, so that's number 2 out. So once again, we're going to put this on the workbench and we're going to keep them in the stack, see if Moto intended them in. Now, that there, that's everything off. That's straight onto the crank or into the gearbox. So, got it stripped down. Now we get to rebuild it. But first, let's go see what we've got. What condition is this in? Alright, so here we're going to run through the pack. What we're going to do is we're going to take these off one by one, inspect it, flip it, and as we build the pack back up, we'll then have it perfectly upside down, turn it back upright. So, first fibre, I'll walk you through this. Already, I can see that's pretty good. There's no real deformation on the plates. They've got nice sharp angles to them. Fibre 1 looking pretty good. Plate, once again, it's looking good. The plates we're more looking for heat scoring on, if they've got a bit of colour to them, as if they've gotten really hot at some stage. It's these internal fibres that tend to do a lot more of the slipping. This is one of the wider fibres. Once again, those edges, they're still really good, really square. Sort of like looking at the rear mud tyre on your bike. You want that to have those nice sharp edges in it. Once they start getting worn, it's a bit curved, the friction isn't quite like it should be. Same again, that's looking pretty good. Still looking good. I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing. Not surprised this hasn't been a slipping clutch. It's usually when they slip that you tend to get the heat. You tend to get the marking on the steels from where the heat's gone through it. There's nothing really there at all. There's a tiny wee mark there. That's just from the fact this is a smaller fibre and it only touches around the outside, and that will be where the shutter bands are pressing on it. That's not going to be a problem anymore. Lucky last, this is what would be our bottom fibre. Once again, that's looking good. Alright, now we've inspected the clutch pack and it looks fine. I'm going to get this out. Now, this has been sitting in oil for around about 3 hours. Some people will say half an hour is fine. Some people will say it needs to be overnight. This is quite a small clutch fibre. I genuinely tend to think 3 hours would be enough. It's going to absorb a majority of what it will absorb in that initial time. So let's just try to leave the oil and then we'll get it out. Just put it on the paper towel there. Right, so I'm just going to lightly dab it just so we're not dripping everywhere. But I'm not getting too carried away with really wiping it down. Just getting the excess off. Right. So that's our new friction pad. We'll go over to the bike now, and this is the first thing we're going to put in. We'll begin our new stack with this. Alrighty, so now we're back at the business end. We're going to take our new big plate, the one that's just been soaking. We're going to put that in first. Now for the stack, we're going to align all of these plates in the deep groove. It can be a wee bit fiddly to align. Once you get it right, they just sort of, to a degree, drop in. There we go. Number 1. Right, so now we're going to get our old stack here. Like I said, we're going to keep the orientation of what was up, but we're actually, to begin with, just going to do away with this small plate. We're going to go straight to a big steel. We're just going to layer these up. Big steel, big fibre, big steel, big fibre, big steel, big fibre, and big steel. So now that's all of our big fibres used. So we're left with two skinnies. Depending on how many Ks you've done on your bike and how old the clutch is, just find which one looks better. It may be a new clutch altogether, in which case it doesn't matter. This case, this one's looking slightly healthier, but there's nothing really in it. So we're going to go skinny there. Okay, so for this next bit, we're going to put our bearing back in. I've opted to use the new bearing that came with the springs. There was nothing wrong with the old one. I'll keep that as a spare, but since it's open, we may as well use the new one. Second part is we're going to put our top plate back on. This is going to consist of one small fibre and one small plate. I've just kept this original as to what come out of the bike. I haven't bothered swapping them. It was in good condition. So we want to line the fibre and the plate up onto the top piece, and then we're going to line it all up as one onto this unit. Now, where all of our steels and fibres have been put in this deep channel, this one is going to be offset in the shallow channel. So we've got to line these three holes up with what will become our spring keepers and bolt holes for the springs. See, just like that slides out. It can be quite finicky. Going to just roughly line it up. There we go, there's our three holes through. In fact, this is going to make a liar of me and go straight on, isn't it? There we go. Didn't even have to swear at it. Now we've got that in place, we'll just drop our new springs in place. And then we've got our new top plate. Just going to put this on as per normal, but it's very important to remember, just like how we undid it, little by a little, we're going to put it back in place the exact same way. Take the slack up on the screws, then we're just going to go a couple of turns on one, couple of turns on the other, till we get it roughly tight. Crank out the old T-wrench again, let that do half the work for you. Just starting to feel like they're snugging up now. So that's just coming to a natural stop. Just go around one more time. Okay, so we've got a little torque wrench here. 7.5 foot-pounds is what we're after for these. That converts to just over 10. I think it's about 10.5 Newton meters of torque. So just get a little bit out of them. Then we should just very hesitant of giving it too much in one go. There we go. Perfect. Just give it one last, yep. One last, yep. And one last, yep. Perfect. Right, so now we've got that back in place, we want to clean up this, get rid of all of this old silicon gunk, and just make sure this is a clean surface. So we just want to go around, possibly even get a wee razor blade, just clean all this up. You want to be very mindful nothing falls in here. Okay, so just to make the gasket, I've just got some grey gasket sensor safe. It's suitable for up to 330 degrees. Now, if your crankcase exceeds that, you have bigger issues than just a bit of gasket goo failing. Alrighty, time to put the case back on. Now, we want to make it as straight a sort of drop as we can. So you want to just ease it in, line it up. Just don't want that silicone touching anything it shouldn't. Nicely onto the dowel pins. Look at that. Never do you ever really get it that clean that quick. So put that down to a fluke. Alright, so we're just putting these in, just the bolts. We're only going snug with the T-wrench here. Not getting too carried away, just snug. And we're going to come back around with the torque wrench. Do it one by one. Alright, so I've just nibbed all these up, as you saw with the T-bar, just snug. We're now just going to torque them up. I'm just using the same torque setting, that just over 10 Newton meters. So now we're going to install our clutch, actuator, fork, arm, whatever you want to call it. So just ensure you still got your spring on there and that washer that we were careful not to lose when we took it out. We're just going to slide that in, just a bit of a wiggle and a jiggle, and then you're just going to twist it until you feel it just clip in there. You now turn it around. The spring will locate on its own wee arm there, and we're going to pull this around until we sort of feel it. It is going to get quite firm and it is going to take a bit of pressure, but now we're going to grab our cable. This is just a reverse of what we did earlier. Pull this down. We want to thread it back into where it was. We can actually just put that nut back on now. Can try. Sorry about getting the arms in the way. Now we're going to grab this piece. We want to slide our rubber boot back, pull the cable down as much as we can. This is going to take a little bit of force. We want to push the clutch up and done. Just tighten that nut up. We will adjust this properly, but for the point of it now, we're just trying to get everything reinstalled. If you've got the clutch case, these bolts that you've missed, we now can drop this in place, wind these down, and run them over and give them a quick torque spec. Alright, unfortunately last night, silly me didn't notice, the final few stages of completing this job, the camera died. Didn't realise it wasn't recording, missed out on capturing that final footage. Luckily you didn't miss too much, only this weekend's winning lotto numbers. Now, we just had a couple of final bolts just to do up on that, left it lying down for about an hour. Half an hour to an hour is pretty good for that RTV, just to let it tack off, and then just ensure it stays on that side stand. I don't like the idea of my bike lying down overnight, so just stood it up, rested it on the side stand. That keeps the majority of the oil on that left hand side. I'm going to give it at least 24 hours before I ride it, but today we're off riding, we're taking the shadow. This is going to stay at home. Tomorrow it's meant to be raining, so the old girl's probably going to stay here for about a week. That's more than enough time. Yeah, just give it 24 hours. Pick a day where the next day is a rainy night so you don't get tempted. Other than that, we're all done with this project. We'll do a bit of a ride once we can get it out, see if we notice a difference. I didn't need to adjust the clutch, I just did the bolts. Just snibbed that nut back up, it was perfect. This bike's only done 2,500 Ks, barely even had to adjust the top adjustment on the handlebar. But if you guys are interested, I can do a video on how to do a full top and bottom clutch adjustment. But I'm guessing if you've got into this stage and you're willing to pull your clutch apart, pull the basket apart, replace fibres, you probably know your basic maintenance of clutch adjustments. But happy to do a video if you like, just comment below.